So, hey guys, I always say hey guys.
Hey.
Whatever. We'll figure out
Sup.
something better to say. Sup.
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 New vlog, who dis?
Sup. No.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Okay, so today, first of all, the disclaimer. Oh, geez, sorry.
Shut it down.
Instagram.
My bad.
The next blog. So we actually, in this, what do you call this? A coffin?
It depends on what part of the nation you're from, but in California we call them a coffin.
Okay, so in this coffin that clearly belongs to Elle and not me, we've put some of the ideas that you guys wanted us to talk about. So thank you for messaging us and letting us know what topics you want to hear about. That is super helpful.
Feedback is a gift.
Yeah, it is. It's really helpful. And then also we're going to add afterthought videos to the YouTube channel that you guys can watch. It's called The Cynical Therapist. And those afterthought videos will either be from myself or Elle, just kind of rapping a little bit about our experience on the vlog, or like the topic, like a little bit more about the topic.
Or kind of the reflection piece, you know, when you put something out into the world and then you sit and you think and you think and you think, and then you're like, crap, I should have said this. So it'll be like the afterthought, the PS, the emojis after the text message.
Yeah. Awesome. And then the disclaimer, this isn't therapy.
This is two therapists talking about stuff. If you guys are struggling, reach out to whoever you can. Try to get some help. I know that a lot of people are struggling. Follow us on @Cynical Therapist on Twitter. A lot of people are reaching out. There's a lot of popularity about borderline personality disorder, which I've been fascinated by, and also suicidality. So if you're really struggling, Mental Health Month, just reach out and kind of find somebody to talk to. There's so many amazing clinicians, and but don't substitute this for actual therapy.
Yes, please do not substitute this for actual therapy. So today's topic actually comes essentially from Elle and stuff we've talked about before. So it's the cool girl.
This is Gillian Flynn, for those of you who are familiar with Gillian Flynn. Her latest stuff is Big Little Lies on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
But her original writing that I fell in love with her was Gone Girl. And then there was obviously a beautiful movie made of that. She also did Sharp Objects, which is incredible. But her writing in Gone Girl feels like somebody with borderline personality disorder, kind of like the traits of it, and really the struggles of the trauma and abandonment. And what she does is she talks about this concept of the cool girl. And both of us work with a lot of women, and it seems like women really struggle with finding their identity in a relationship. And when you're early on in your dating career, you're kind of... Well, I was kind of a mess and didn't really have this identity piece. And
let's do this. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you, but Elle had sent me this. I think just for those of you who don't know, well, a couple things. For those of you who don't know what borderline personality is, it's just kind of a mix of abandonment issues, emotions, traumas, all that stuff. And that is just the way that it's defined in the DSM. Yeah. It's also defined by other practitioners as like disorganized attachment,
abandonment issues.
Yeah, and it really just is like a way to kind of get clarity on how are we going to treat this person. Perfect. So the cool girl definition, just again, for those of you who don't know, and this comes from Gillian Flynn. And full disclosure for me, I actually watched the Cool Girl excerpt from the Gone Girl movie. I have not actually read the book. I'm looking forward to reading it. Yes. But this is a little excerpt from her. The one on the movie, because I do know that your daughter's following us and that we are going to have some teenage followers. And we just want to be sure to, the one from the Gone Girl is not necessarily appropriate for teens. So we're going to read this small excerpt. So it says, she's a cool girl. Being the cool girl means that I am hot, brilliant, funny, a woman who adores football, poker, dirty jokes, burping, who can play video games and drink cheap beer. I'll eat hot dogs and jam hamburgers into my mouth like I'm hosting the world's biggest culinary blank. While somehow maintaining a size 2. Because cool girls are above all hot. They're hot and understanding. Cool girls never get angry. They only smile. They have a loving manner, and they let their men do whatever they want. So
what are the feelings right now? Like, as you read it out loud, what are the feelings as a licensed clinician, as a wife, as a woman?
I mean, I think, I don't know if it's because I'm in my 30s now, but it was like this whole culmination of, and we've joked about me finding my 6th grade diary and reading that, which is
favorite. That's
which is where
day.
the complex began. And so what I find really interesting is the societal ideas of like how we build up that we are supposed to be this specific type of girl, you know, and then in a lot of relationships, I think like we either feel like I'm too much, which is a big piece, or I'm not enough, and I constantly have to do that. And I know that there was this gentleman who did a YouTube video just kind of talking about it, and I guess at the beginning of the movie Gone Girl, there's a book, Amazing Amy, that her parents wrote.
Yes.
That is, you know, not her, essentially a better version of her from what it sounds like.
Those evil therapists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I don't know what you're super intrigued about, but I'm intrigued of the societal like inclinations of how the cool girl started and how we perpetuate it in society.
That women are willing to perpetuate. And that's the problem. It's like cool girl conceptually for a hoe in a music video. Totally, that makes sense, right? I'm playing this part. I'm at this, you know, this awesome party. I'm in a bikini. I'm going to be dancing. That's cool girl in my head. But it's also cool girl is the right after you take off your bikini and wipe down all the foam from the party, you're supposed to throw on an apron and like bring out some cookies for all of your friends. And it's just like, is it a possibility to be all of those things? Or is this just a juxtaposition against the way men want us to be?
Sure.
Right? And I like cool girl because I really don't believe there's such a thing as the cool woman. Like you're supposed to outgrow it. And the women that don't outgrow this those are the ones, those are cool mom. And I think of Mean Girls, you know, and like she's like, I'm cool mom. It's different here. And
you
I'm
can
like,
drink
oh yeah,
here.
exactly. And I'm like, oh God, that's cool girl grown up.
Yes, where you have to reach a point where there's this maturity. And I like that idea of when you're a woman, and that's kind of what I said. Now that I'm 35, I kind of see all of this. And I mean, obviously we've seen it in Hollywood where they were perpetuating like, I have to be the cool actress. I have to be willing to give producers or whatever, right? People who I can't stick up to anything that they want in order to, you know, to get what.
Yes, well, it's the Harvey Weinstein. I don't even know how you say Weinstein. Whatever.
Yeah.
Harvey Dirtbag. That's the whole thing is like, what currency do women bring to the table aside from their sexuality? What currency do I have?
Sure.
What worth do I have except for my, you know, my hot dog eating, football watching version of me? And I see so many times like these young women are kind of wrapped up into, I guess the cool girl would be the Instagram model, the tastemaker, the influencer or whatever. It's like, how does the world want me to behave, and how do I change my value system in order to please the world?
Sure.
And that I think is so dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good for us because we're therapists and we'll always have a job, right? But outside of that, like, oh my gosh.
And the social implications are getting worse and worse, right? It's like, that's kind of when I always say, you know, when I was in middle school, you broke up with a boy by your locker, or he broke up with you, whatever, right? By your locker, there was a note passed,
I don't want to date you anymore. Check this box if you agree.
Circle yes or no.
Circle yes.
But I think we've, you know, like you said, the social influencers and all that stuff, we're kind of going to this whole other level of also there being competition. Like I think when, you know, that's another piece, obviously the social piece, and there's the relationship piece. And then there's also this piece that I've noticed over, you know, just growing up as a girl, where we're constantly in competition with one another. So as we're trying to be the cool girl, we're in competition with other girls.
You're going to be the coolest girl.
Yes.
You can't just be the cool girl. You have to be the coolest / hottest, you know, because there's so much competition. But what are we competing for? That's the question. The guys that want us to perpetuate this bizarre, tomboy-ish hot chick, the French maid with like a crossbow, which is kind of hot.
The French maid with a crossbow.
I mean, really, it's kind of hot. But it's, I don't even know what eyes I see that through.
Yeah.
Is that the eyes of, oh, yeah, guys would like that, so therefore I will like that, therefore I'm the cool girl. Like I can represent that. I also think that the cool girl is the one that, you know, takes her friends to the strip club. And I was the cool girl in new sobriety when I was early in my non-drinking career, where I believed I could go to bars and I could take friends and take everybody everywhere because I was cool girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not that I'm pretty much a designated driver because I'm sober. And it took a really long time for me to become resentful. And I don't even think I realized I was resentful until I relapsed. And that's like a heavy thing for me. Part of my story is I relapsed at 10 years of sobriety because of a cool girl-ism / denial / all those pieces of, I don't even know what it was about. It was about me not being able to take care of myself because I didn't value who I was. And or maybe I thought that I was a superwoman, which is also part of the cool girl thing, that I can handle anything. Like, I mean, look at me. I'm insanely cool. Like, I could do anything. I could take you guys to the strip club. I can also, work a job and, not take care of myself emotionally, and I'll be fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Until. And
that's kind of what you see in the movie. Until, and it becomes this, of the traits of women, just and being like not only sensitive but also powerful and being able. I mean, there are so many layers to women and so many beautiful layers that I think you see that in whatever unfortunate way in the movie when that vengeance comes out and she's on top of the fact that obviously that is an extreme version of what kind of vengeance can come out.
I feel like as a woman, our vengeance is also muted, right? Sure. If the roles were reversed, if it was a man and he had snapped because his wife was, being evil, I would be like, yeah, kill her. But since it's a woman, it's like, oh, no, like, women aren't allowed to do this.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of it.
Yeah. And I think if, I guess looking back for myself, at least, I don't know if you could have told me, right, in my like teenage years or 20s, like, you don't have to do that. Like if somebody was like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to act like that. You can be yourself. I think that actually develops very, very early on.
Yeah.
I think that self-esteem piece and all that develops not only from the relationships, right, and within the family unit, but also socially and all that.
No, I totally love that. Where it's like, if I were surrounded by other cool girls, cool moms, the kind of the muted woman, then I probably would have become more of that. And if I had like, my mom was kind of had a struggle with her own identity. She was of the generation where women didn't stand up for themselves, which this is what happens.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, she wasn't cool girl. She was quiet girl. She was good woman, good Christian woman, which is just as dangerous as cool girl in my eyes, where it's like, I let the man lead. I don't have a voice. I have to even if your man is ridiculous, you're going to let him lead. And so that is another piece of it, where cool girl and good Christian woman are kind of lumped together for me.
Sure.
Where it's like, that's a very dangerous environment for a girl who was paying very close attention. Because some people don't. They're like, oh, my life is this and my mom is that and I had a good childhood. But I was paying really close attention to what was going on. And I think most of my life now is in a reaction to either what wasn't done or what was overdone in my childhood now. So
sure.
Which explains the way I look and behave. Sorry, guys.
She's not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
It's good.
I feel like I should say that, though.
Yeah. And I think and as far as like, and we joke about this, as far as the way I look and I behave, and that's the difference, I think. Like you look at you, right, and you can see it.
Yeah.
You look at me and you can't see it. And so I think that is internalized as far as
cool girl.
It is. It is. And as far as like how I acted, it was more in relationship. So I would and essentially date people who just perpetuated that I needed to be a cool girl, right? Yes. So if we call him the narcissist or the asshole or whatever we want to call him, and that's kind of the character that Nick is in Gone Girl, right? And so it just perpetuates that. And so I think, early on in relationships, being with people who are like, why are you always like that? Or you're so emotional or this or that. Just then re-instilled, oh my gosh, I am that. I have to be cool. Right. I have to be cool. I can't be emotional. I have to be. And how to
tone it down.
Sure.
Because it's making this guy slightly uncomfortable. I had to take my value system, my behavior, the way I present down 6 notches. Because, everybody's uncomfortable. That's horrifying if you think about it.
It is.
And then the overt cool girl. The one in the car at the strip club pretending to like it. And that's, I think about that and I'm like, how do I explain to my daughters, I have 3 daughters, well, how do I explain to them that you don't have to do that? But they're also not going to hear it from me, just like I wouldn't hear it from my mom. That's a peer group thing, I think.
Sure.
I hope.
Yeah. And I had a pretty great peer group, you know, growing up. And actually, for whatever reason, I know that, and it's funny that you say the Christian piece. I had grown up not in a secular home, not in a home where we went to like Bible study or church or anything like that. And I had started going with girls. And then I started, you know, just dating, branching out, becoming a different person. And I remember very, very vividly those girls saying, like, we can't be friends with you anymore because of your behaviors, because of the way you're behaving, which was essentially just me kind of coming into my own as a teenager. And that's the one piece that I really appreciate, that I stood up for myself, because I have such a fantastic group of girlfriends because of that. And so I, you know, I didn't spend time with those girls anymore. But
the good Christian girls.
Yeah, I didn't. I branched away from them. And when I was 15 and started working at a coffee shop, I gained some really great friends. And all those girls were the girls who were in my wedding. And I just have like this powerful group of women who are, you know, I think comfortable being themselves, but also comfortable having conversations like this and what that means. And so I think
all of them have been married for a really long time, which I'm fascinated by. Like the good Christian women that I know now are kind of on their second, third marriage. But your friends are all long-term high school sweethearts, still married, still hacking away at this thing called life. And it's just like, well, who's got it figured out? Is it cool girl? Is it good Christian woman? Is it, I mean, who knows? The covert, the overt, the hidden cool girl? Or the one that's just figuring out right now, the 12-year-olds, the 13-year-olds, figuring out who they are and what place they have. Like, reflecting on this internet culture, which is horrifying. Like, I mean, I love that you guys are watching this, but I don't know if I could have done it.
Oh, I couldn't have. I for sure could not have.
I was
devastated getting broken up by a locker, like getting broken up and then it being all over Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, like, dude. And then seeing somebody dating, dude, somebody new.
Like, right when you wake up, your ex is with some, like, props.
And again, that piece where we wonder why, and I don't know why, because I was watching the news the other day because I record Ellen, and I just happened to see it, and there was a shooting in Downey where the guy, I don't know if you saw that, actually, like,
my husband's obsessed with police chases, so I get front row center.
Got out of the car, put half of his body out of the car to shoot. Shooting. And then there was another one where somebody, I think, had been killed in Long Beach. And so all that to say, we're in this just like space right now in society, in American society, where we're looking at or watching all these things happen. And
desensitizing.
And it's Mental Health Month. So it's like, it's not about the guns. It's about mental health. Like, it's about that. And they were saying the shooting in Long Beach, there was the possibility that there was whoever did that or whatever was mentally unstable. And it's like, yes, people, yes. Like, why aren't we looking at that? Why aren't we hyper focused on that? And even going back to the Gone Girl piece of when I'm trying so hard in society to be somebody that I'm not. I might harm somebody. I might, right? I might.
The person I'm pretending to be versus the person I am. The farther we get apart from each other, the more likely it's going to crackle and snap, right? It's like, I truly think, and this is kind of private practice, where somebody comes into therapy and they sit down on the couch and they're essentially asking permission to behave the way they want to behave. And that's every session. Like, listen, I have these feelings, I have these instincts. The person I'm with, I can't stand them. Every day I wake up and I'm crying. And it's like, you already know what you need to do. You've essentially told me exactly what's going on. Like, why do you need permission to kind of walk through with what you want to walk through? It's like, you guys, it's that juxtaposition piece. Like, can I make decisions for myself, or do I need a live feed, a Twitter following, this bizarre virtual friend group to tell me how to live my life? Or can I make decisions, even if they're scary decisions, even if I am going to snap, even if I'm going to take all my kids and run out of the house. Like, can I do that?
Sure.
And really just do that on my own without the feedback, without the reflection piece? And I don't know if anybody can anymore.
I would. That's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think so. And I think for me, coming in, like that piece you're talking about for therapists and asking permission, it was so, for me and doing my own therapy, that piece where I could go in this space where nobody was watching and I could ask for permission in a safe space where I was encouraged to be myself and share about my emotions. And fall apart was really, and I think that's the powerful thing about therapy.
Yes, I give goosebumps where it's like, I get to sit in a room and just throw it out there and be like, you know, like, to be in a room where somebody's sitting there just receiving information and kind of bouncing it back to you like a handball game is like, wait a minute, this isn't scary to you? Wait a minute, you're not telling me what to do with this information. You're sitting there and receiving it. I wonder how much devastation, how many police chases could be avoided by just sitting in a room with somebody and saying, you know what, you seem pretty angry. Like, what's really going on? You know, you don't have to be cool girl anymore. Let's just fall apart together. It's fine. You can sit in my room and throw it out there.
Sure. And that's why, like, finding, and I think we talk about this regularly, but we were in a meeting yesterday and the lady at the meeting was kind of asking, like, essentially how we do therapy. And my response to her was, we want to do good therapy. If somebody comes in and they're feeling depressed, or if somebody comes in and they're feeling angry, we want to be able to help them to feel better and help them to find themselves and help them to do all that. And so I think that's, you know, something that, being that it's Mental Health Month, something that's missing is that I can go to a bad therapist for years and not feel any better about what it is that I'm struggling with.
Sports, or talk about stuff you would ordinarily talk about with your barista. You know what I mean? It's like that thing where you need to have a skilled listener. And having somebody to be, hey, listen, are you ready for some feedback? Do you really want to hear the truth? You know what I mean? Also, and not having a therapist who's territorial about their clients, being able to recognize when a client is not appropriate, you know? Because I know that, and I've said this to her before, like, when you're looking for a therapist through Psychology Today and you see a picture of me, it's not necessarily what you're looking for. And I understand that, right? I understand that I'm not the type to work with the elderly. And I get that, you know, and I understand that sometimes little kids are a little frightened because I look like the Wicked Witch or whatever. And I understand that and I receive that and I'm okay with that. But also, I'm not butthurt. I'm more like, oh, good for you. Good for you to look at me and be like, yo, like, I don't know if that's something that I want. You know, I want somebody to sit with me and like talk to me about floral bouquets or whatever. And that's not the person that I'm looking for. But also, there are so many good-looking therapists that are terrible clinicians. Like, they
and
don't
she
know
means
what
like
they're
girl
doing.
next door. Like they look friendly, like me essentially.
I mean,
and I do think this is probably a great topic as far as like, you know, because as we kind of go away from the cool girl topic, as far as having another podcast where we're talking about how to find a good therapist and what that means and all that stuff. So maybe we'll do that in a few weeks.
If you're into it.
And I think just like a good closing would be, what would you tell, you know, somebody watching this video who's like, oh my gosh, I, you know, am trying to be the cool girl, or am I still trying to be, or what would be your hope for them, or for somebody who's maybe trying to outgrow that?
Ooh, okay. So about 13 or 14 years old, I'm talking to you. Or maybe you're out of your first marriage. Maybe you got married young and you were trying to do the right thing, and you were in a marriage, and maybe you guys have grown apart, because that's a really familiar case. Is like, oh, we're great roommates, but we're not necessarily good lovers anymore. And just being able to understand that who you were at like age 10 is kind of who you are right now. And if you can kind of scale it back to the 10-year-old that you were, that's about 5th grade. And I'm thinking, I mean, my priority was winning the spelling bee, which I did. But also, I mean, not a lot of people bring that up in my life anymore. But there was this fearlessness, and there was a kind of a sparkly-eyed, you know, interpretation of the world. Like, the world loves me. I am worthy of all of this love, and my nerdiness, my knock knees, my skinny scarecrow figure, my flat chest, that's not even part of this, you know? I am wonderful and amazing and worthy of love. And then about 3 years later, of course, when I hit puberty, it was like, I hate myself and my body is weird and all these people are making fun of me. Yeah. And kind of the comparative piece when you're, 4'11" and you have 6 foot tall woman hands and you just feel weird and awkward and you start to realize that there are other people looking at you. Just to be able to knock that aside and kind of look at yourself and be like, you know what? I am really, truly, and this is so corny and I hate that it's coming out of my mouth. I am enough just as I am right now. And the things that I love and enjoy, there are millions of people who love and enjoy it and I'm not alone. And the people that I'm hanging out with, probably not going to hang out with for very much longer. And you're allowed to outgrow people. You're allowed to outgrow jobs. You're allowed to outgrow friends. And if people are not supporting and cheering you on and loving you, then find somebody else, because odds are there are other people out there that love you and think you're charming just as you are.
Yeah.
And what about you? How would you outgrow it?
That's great. No, even hearing you say it, that 5th grade self of yours, I was thinking back to my my middle school self that finally like got into cheerleading and dance and all that and just had this passion. So I think for the way that I would describe it, kind of piggybacking off of yours, is find your passion. Like find something you are so deeply and just spiritually passionate about that, you're not trying to be somebody for somebody else.
Ooh,
that you just find this peace and you just kind of have all your energy and going towards that. So I think that's where it would go. Yeah.
That's great advice. I mean, therapeutically.
That got deep today.
Hey!
Yeah. Celebrities last week, deep today. So yeah, we're still trying to figure out a good closing.
Okay. So feedback would be awesome. I was thinking, go kick ass and take names, but I feel like that's less gentle than what Laurie would have.
Yeah. So it's got to be kind of a blend.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out.
Something. Mine's more like Ellen's. Be kind to one another, but we need like an in-between. So if anybody has any feedback about that, but for now, I'm just going to say, thank you for watching us, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also you can follow our blog, where we'll just write different articles, everything life and mental health. And that's at thecynicaltherapist.com.
And then at Cynical Therapist on Twitter. Please follow, please throw some stuff out there. Totally open to anything at this time. And I'm saying that early, so I don't know what that's going to mean later. I might just tear it all down. I don't know. You know me. Who knows?
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.